A very good evening to you and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid. Now, before taking a look at tonight's headlines, let's quickly cross over to Krishni Panditratna, who's at the National Earth Hour event in Atulkote. Krishni?
To all our viewers, join me later on in the news bulletin for a report from the official Earth Hour Sri Lanka event in Atulkote, Colombo.
Well, Krishna will be joining us later on in the bulletin with the very latest from the official National Earth Hour event in Atulkote. Let's now take a look at tonight's headlines. Meaningful steps towards reconciliation. Minister Vasudeva Nanayakkara expresses his views on separatism. Farmers in Nicobarati are severely inconvenienced after the destruction of paddy lands. Also, a couple arrested for selling a 3-day-old infant for 35,000 rupees. Moving on to local news, the Dayatikirula National Development Exhibition was declared open this evening by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Dayatikirula exhibition is being held at the Hardy Technical Institute grounds in Ampara. Now, the objective of this exhibition is to enhance the understanding of the country's development journey. A large number of stalls set up by state and private sector institutions can be witnessed at this exhibition. The newly constructed 2-story physical and children's unit at the Ampara General Hospital was declared open by President Mahinda Rajapaksa today.
The new unit was built concurrent to the Dayatikirula development program at a cost of 17 million rupees. Subsequent to declaring open the new unit, President Rajapaksa presented mementos to the members of the hospital staff who excelled in various fields. The staff at the hospital in return presented a memento to the President for services rendered to the hospital. The President inquired into the well-being of the in-house patients and also attended the event to present ambulances to the Trincomalee, Patikulo and Ampara hospitals. Furthermore, President Mahinda Rajapaksa declared open the state-of-the-art building of a state bank in the Ampara town.
In your developing story tonight, the United States says that the content of the US resolution on Sri Lanka calls for Sri Lanka to take meaningful steps towards reconciliation between its communities. Speaking to the BBC World Service, the US Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Robert Blake, said that a clear statement cannot be made on steps that will be taken in the event that Sri Lanka fails to work according to the resolution.
The US Assistant Secretary of State said the United Nations has reiterated the need for Sri Lanka to bring about reconciliation between communities for permanent peace and prosperity and to hold persons alleged to have violated human rights accountable. Speaking to the BBC World Service, Blake said that the UNHRC resolution is important in the context of Sri Lanka acting in accordance with its promises and holding provincial council elections in the north and recommencing discussions with the Tamil National Alliance on the devolution of power. Robert Blake added that if any third party, including South Africa, is willing to come forward to mediate the recommencement of talks between the TNA and the government, then the US would support that measure.
Meanwhile, attention was also drawn towards the UNHRC resolution on Sri Lanka at the US State Department's daily press briefing yesterday.
They should implement the plan that they have never implemented. They should listen to the words of the international community. As you know, we welcome the passage of this new resolution. 24 other countries also voted for it. We call on the government of Sri Lanka to fulfill its obligations to its own people. The resolution very clearly expresses the support of the international community for Sri Lanka addressing its outstanding issues related to reconciliation and for meeting its obligations for accountability, which it has not yet done.
Let me ask you, since this resolution has been going on for some time, and I'm sure there was ample warning and discussions and dialogue with Sri Lankan government or officials, either from the US or UN or other international community, was there any time that Sri Lanka could have avoided this resolution against them?
We've talked about this for the past week here, Goyal, and I said that we had made clear, including when senior Sri Lankans had visited Washington, that if they didn't take steps, that they would see this kind of a resolution coming forward. That was about 6 months ago, and we didn't see any progress.
So finally, how can you enforce it now?
Again, we want to see the Sri Lankans take their own decisions. As we've said before, if those are not forthcoming, the international community will look at whether there are other steps we can take.
Thank you.
Delivering the 12th V.K. Krishna Menon Memorial Lecture in India yesterday, India's National Security Advisor Shiv Shankar Menon said that it is in India's interest that Sri Lanka solves its ethnic issues and makes the minority community confident of its fate. According to Indian media reports, Menon had said that it is in their interest that Sri Lanka remains a close friend and does not affect India's security adversely. Delivering the lecture, Menon had mentioned that two national interests do not coincide and that the country had to choose between them. Up next is a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day. Meanwhile, speaking at an event held at the Ratnapura Town Hall today, Minister Vasudeva Nanayakkara reiterated the importance of uniting against separatism. The Tamil people in the north and eastern provinces have a political problem. We want to resolve it. We agree to providing justifiable powers to the representatives of the Tamil people in these provincial councils in accordance with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. Sri Lanka will be built as one nation. Remember that foreign forces are preying on our country. We must all join the cause to unite against separatism. We must defeat separatist forces. The 275th phase of the Sasunata program was held in Pandwasnuwara today under the patronage of UNP MP Sajid Premadasa. MP Sajid Premadasa made a financial donation at this event for the construction of the Seema Malakaya of the Sri Vimalodaya Mahapirivena in Kadawalagedara, Pandwasnuwara.
මට තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි 2009 මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාව.
The question that I have is that if Sri Lanka won by 17 votes at the UN Human Rights Council in 2009, then how did we lose by 9 votes last year? Why did we lose by 12 votes this year? Is it not a government that was unable to defeat the 2013 resolution that is governing at present? Because of the inability of those behind the foreign policy of this country, the 17 votes we received in favour have been converted to 12 votes against in 2013.
මේ රටේ විදේශ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන නිසා අර අපි ලැබපු 17ක වැඩි ඡන්ද අපි පරදවන වැඩි ඡන්ද 12ක් බවට 2013 පරිවර්තනය වෙනවා.
ලබන අප්‍රේල් 1 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා අපේ හඳුරන්නේ විදුලි බිල වැඩි වෙනවා.
Electricity tariffs will increase from the 1st of April. I calculated yesterday as to how much the electricity bill would increase by. For 1 to 30 units, it increases by 2 rupees. But if you use even 1 unit more than 90 units, it will increase by 1,165 rupees. Can you believe this? If anyone denies this, I am prepared to prove it. When considering the cost of living, wages do not increase comparatively. What I am saying is that no matter how much development is there in the country, we have to pay the debt of that development on the other hand.
බාණ්ඩවල මිලත් එක ගත්තාම මේ ප්‍රමාණයට පරිදි වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් මම කියන්නේ මොනතරම් සම්වර්ධනයක් රට ඇතුලේ සිද්ධ වුණත් ඒ සම්වර්ධනයේ ණය ටික ගෙවන්න ඕනේ අපි අනිත් පැත්තට.
Meanwhile, speaking at an event held in Kelaniya today, Minister Mervyn Silva expressed these views on the US-sponsored resolution on Sri Lanka.
මේකෙන් ලංකාවට කිසිම දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන් යෝජනාවක් නෙවෙයි. අපේ ජනාධිපති
This is not a resolution which enables anything to be done against Sri Lanka. Our president and our government will not anger any of us. We need America as well. We will not reduce our relationship with America by even a thimble. The relationship between us and India will not be lost because of the actions of a malicious group in India.
නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. රජීව් ගාන්ධි මරපු ප්‍රභාකරන් වෙනුවෙන් පෙළපාලියන්න විරෝධතා දක්වන ඉඩ දීලා තියෙනවා නම් ඉන්දියාවේ උදේවේගේ රෙදි ගලවන්න ඕන. අපේ නෙවෙයි. නමුත් අපි ඉන්දියාවට ආදරෙයි.
Minister Mervyn Silla expressed these views following an alms-giving held at the Kalane Rajama Vihara today. Alms were given to invoke blessings on First Lady Shuranti Rajapaksa's mother.
Now, the first Earth Hour was celebrated in Sydney, Australia in 2007 when 2.2 million residents turned off all non-essential lights. Now, following Sydney's lead, many other cities across the globe adopted the event in 2008. But this massive global initiative is not without its critics. I filed this report earlier today. Earth Hour engages hundreds of millions of people from all corners of the globe to take positive action for the environment and celebrate their commitment with the people of the world by switching off their lights for one designated hour. The organizers say that Earth Hour is not about saving an hour's electricity, but about realizing that the actions we take, from the energy we use to the food we buy and the water we drink, has an effect on the world. The run-up to Earth Hour 2013 has seen massive support from all walks of society.
Around the globe, increasingly extreme weather is harming families, communities, and economies. Everyone has a role to play. Governments need to provide the political will. Business can contribute solutions, and civil society, especially young people, can mobilize global action. Together, let's do our part and shed light on common sense answers for a cleaner, greener world.
Many years ago, I became the first person in history to have walked to the North and South Poles, and on those journeys we touch things that Earth Hour and yourselves are trying to address today. Don't just feel that somebody else is going to sort this out, because they won't. It's down to us.
Critics, however, argue that in spite of raising awareness, Earth Hour is a symbol of tokenism. The most prominent criticism is that at the end of Earth Hour, when millions of people switch on their lights and appliances at the same time, it creates a surge current that results in a sudden spike in power demand. After so many years of announcing the scientific basis for climate change, is token symbolic support the way to move forward? Or should we instead be looking at ways to actually cut carbon emissions? The positive impact of Earth Hour on raising awareness on the urgent need for conservation is undeniable. However, as the global population continues to explode and as so-called progressive change takes front and center, the need for positive action has never been greater. Our planet, Earth, has been around for billions of years and by all estimates will be around for a few billion more. Action on humanity's part will go a long way towards ensuring that we as a race do not end up being a footnote in the long history of our planet. Nadim Majid, News First. Well, what's happening at the national event marking Earth Hour? We now cross over to News First Krishni Panditratna, who is at the national event to find out what's going on. Krishni, it's over to you.
Good evening, Nadim. Yes, right now I am in the dark at the official Earth Hour Sri Lanka 2013 event at the Sri Mahindarama Vihara here in Atul Kote. It must be mentioned that we as a country are participating in the world's largest voluntary movement to create awareness on protecting the environment. Now, Earth Hour is marked in more than 150 countries with the participation of 1.2 billion people and counting. Now, the event started at 8:30 p.m. sharp, and various cultural events were held to mark the Earth Hour, and also many ministers are talking on safeguarding the environment and conserving energy for tomorrow. And also I must mention before I wrap up this update that this live update is made possible with the use of the Live View digital technology. Back to you, Nadim.
Well, thank you very much, Krishni. We'll see if we can join Krishni later on in the bulletin as well.
The Upper Kotmale power plant adds 150 megawatts to the national grid. The reservoir is drained completely for renovation and maintenance work. 150 megawatts removed from the national grid completely. Fuel costs are too high. Proposal to increase electricity tariff. Why was the reservoir drained completely a few months after the power plant constructed at high cost was declared open? Is this not wastage of public funds?